Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Waiting for some people to get on here. Please put in the comments where you're calling in from so we can give you a shout out. Just wait to see where people are coming in from. Happy Earth Day. Hope you're having a good one. We're excited over here to talk about Earth Day, so please let us know where you're chatting in from so we can give you a shout out. Hopefully hear from some Chicago people. I'm always looking.
Jersey people.
Jersey people, maybe some Californians.
Puerto Rico.
Maybe some Puerto Ricans. What else are we trying to represent here?
Everyone.
The world. Okay, we'll give people 45 more seconds and then we'll get started here. But while we're waiting, anyone have any fun things they want to share with our friends watching? Any Earth Day traditions? Anything exciting you saw online?
Well, I have been.
I did get lots of chats from.
Go on, Mike.
No, you go.
No, well, I have been most of the day looking in the background to the climate summit with basically the whole world come together again. So it brings me back, times of Paris Agreement and a lot of excitement and hope, after a few years without it.
That's great. What were we going to say, Mike?
Oh, I was just going to say, you were talking about fun things for Earth Day. So I got lots of texts from my mom who wanted to wish me a happy Earth Day and tell me about the T-shirt she was wearing, the Sierra Club T-shirt she was wearing.
I love that.
I love it.
All right. Let's go ahead and get started here. For our friends that are joining, please let us know where you're joining from so we can bond over where you live. So thank you so much for joining Sierra Club today to talk about our vision for a planet where everyone can thrive. And again, it is Earth Day. We'll keep reminding you. But before we begin our conversation about our vision, I think it's important to just take a breath and talk about what's happening right now in our country. So this week, we've all been waiting for this verdict from the Derek Chauvin trial, naming him guilty on all 3 counts of murdering George Floyd. Just weeks before that, Daunte Wright was shot by police. And just during the trial a few days ago, a 15-year-old girl named Ma'Khia Bryant was shot by police in Columbus, Ohio, when she called for help. And there are so many more of these stories and names that are etched on our hearts. Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland, Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, Ahmaud Arbery, Adam Toledo, and I can go on and on. And so last summer, we heard very loud and clear the movement in the streets say, defund the police. The Sierra Club community rallied around this stance, and we've worked very closely with our allies and other organizations to really understand what does that mean for us in our work. And we believe in a planet where everyone can thrive, where everyone has access to clean water, clean air, and a healthy democracy. So defunding the police is a step towards accountability. And the movement is pushing us to think about a world where police don't exist and where communities take care of each other, an abolitionist future. And the road to that world is very long, but I have faith in our people to get us there because it's about justice. So today we're going to talk about what that looks like for us in our work and in our lives. So on Earth Day, we're so excited to launch 10 days of intersectional, people-powered national action, really addressing this moment from every angle: political, cultural, social, economic, and personal. So today we're going to talk about the first 100 days of the Biden administration and what got us here. We're going to talk about the opportunities we see to create safe and healthy communities. We'll talk about people power to make change, which I know all of you in the comments are already chatting about, which is great. And we'll dig into the first steps that we can take together for this Earth Week of action. So we'll do some introductions really quickly, and then we'll get into our first question. So I'm Deepa Kunapuli. I live in Chicago, Illinois, and I run the digital and technology department here at the Sierra Club. And I will pass it to Byron.
Hey y'all, my name is Byron Gudiel. You see him pronounce. I'm calling in from northeast Los Angeles, the foothills of the San Gabriel Mountains.
Cool. Let's pass it to Ramon.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ramon Cruz. I use pronouns he, him, his, and I'm the president of the Sierra Club. I'm speaking to you all from the occupied territory of the Canarsie people, otherwise known as Brooklyn, but I'm originally from Boriquen, which is the Taino name of the island of Puerto Rico. Welcome, everybody.
And last but not least, we'll pass it to Mike.
Thanks, Deepa, and hi, everybody. I'm Mike Brune, Executive Director for the Sierra Club, he, him, and his pronouns, and I am zooming in today from the Bay Area in California, which is the occupied territory of the Ohlone people.
Awesome. So we're all over the country here, coming to you live on Earth Day. So our first question is, we'll talk about the Biden-Harris administration. So lots of good news coming out of this administration. Activists and organizers have been pressuring the administration since before the election to take a bolder stance around issues on energy, climate, and so much more. Mike, what are you seeing and hearing from this administration that gives you hope?
Well, first, I'd say that there's a lot that's given me hope, including the fact that there's so many people on the call. So happy Earth Day to everybody who's on the call. Seeing from folks, a message from Alan in Sandy Creek, New York, who says happy Earth Day where it is snowing, April 22nd. So thanks for all that. Regarding the administration, there's a lot that's giving me and a lot of us a lot of hope. On environmental and climate issues, we have seen a flurry of executive actions coming from this administration. Just today, the administration announced that it is setting a goal to cut pollution by at least 50 to 52%, climate pollution by at least 50 to 52% by the end of this decade, which is a pretty dramatic move and a significant increase in what we were seeing just a few months ago. So when we think about the opportunity that we have right now to pass climate legislation, that is significant. We haven't been able to get climate legislation despite a generation's worth of trying. We also see an opportunity to protect 30% of our lands and water by 2030. What that means is that this administration is committed to protecting more lands and waters over the next decade than the entire country has protected over the last 150 years. So we know that we are, as we always have been, pitted against corporate special interests that want to extract and make profits off the backs of the rest of us, and that we need to stand in solidarity with frontline communities who are impacted by these decisions. So our work has to continue to be to organize and to mobilize and to agitate and to litigate and to work with our allies across the country to build the power to actually get climate legislation passed to protect 30% of our lands and waters. And I believe that we're poised to do it.
Awesome. I see some folks in the comments asking about this question, and yeah, I totally understand how starting off with talking about defunding the police and moving into policy may be confusing. So I'll just use this opportunity to say, like, this is the political journey that at the Sierra Club we're going on, right? Is really connecting issues, social issues and political issues to environmental issues. So Mike speaking about the policy advances that we're making, the big numbers that we're trying to hit are all related to how we center and care for our people and look at how social issues interconnect with environmental issues. So we'll go into that a little bit more, but I wanted to respond to the chat. So thank you so much, Mike. I think the next thing we kind of want to talk about is opportunities for our base. People are always writing in, tweeting at us, sending us messages asking, y'all's work is so awesome, how can I get involved? So Ramon, can you talk a little bit about, now that we're in the first half of 2021, what are the opportunities you see for our base to get involved?
Well, thanks a lot, Deepa, for that question, and thanks for everyone. You know, there's opportunities all the way to the Himalayas. There's one person, Lotte, from Bhutan, maybe. I don't know, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing, but joining us from the Himalayas. That's quite amazing. So happy Earth Day. Now, in terms of opportunities, the administration recently proposed trillions of dollars in new spending on good jobs, on clean energy, on infrastructure, our care economy, and more. And if this is passed, this plan would be the largest investment the federal government has ever made, or at least in the last 50 years or so, to address social and economic and the economic crisis. So this moment, it's important to remember that has been possible because of many of you tuning in, and all the work that we have been doing for decades. And we should feel very proud of the power that our shared movement has built, to shape a multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure plan that centers action on the climate crisis, that addresses environmental injustice and racism, and that creates millions of good jobs. So, of course, this is a lot of progress, and but it is by no means the ceiling. So there's so much more that is possible, and that we should continue building on this. So what is said before us basically is rebuilding the infrastructure of our nation, is saving our democracy, and creating a livable planet for all. So I know that this is sounds like a lot. It's a tall order, but I think we're the people to do it, and this is the moment. So remember, all of you listening, that there's not much, like we won't have another time where all the stars are aligned. Our issues are at the center of media attention. People support what we're doing, both chambers of commerce in support of this effort, and a friendly administration that have taken bold action. So we need to show up, our support, and ensure that your Congress members, wherever you are, and your senators are supportive of this and hearing from you. So we have no time to waste, and this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity.
I love that. Thank you, Ramon. It's very inspirational. I see people have some questions. We'll get to those in a little bit. And I agree to whoever said Earth Day should be every day. Sounds right to me. Okay, so now I want us to pivot to talking about, we understand how we've gotten here, what the playing field is, what the opportunities are. Organizers and activists are ready to spring into action. A lot of people have a lot of rage and anger in this moment, and they want to do something tangible with that. So Byron, I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit about, how do you think we as organizers and activists and supporters of the Sierra Club, how can we meet this moment?
Thanks, Deepa. Appreciate that, and happy Earth Day to everyone who is on this call. To meet this moment, Deepa, I think we need to think about what the cumulative impact is of our work, right? And so for that, we need to strive for bold and transformative change that will fundamentally shift outcomes in our communities. And we have to dream big. We have to be able to envision what justice looks like in our community every day, right? And Sierra Club has been around for a long time, almost 130 years, and we've won significant victories because of the strength of our members and volunteers, whether it's fighting for policy change or to make sure that Black and Brown communities have access to clean air by shutting down coal plants, or energizing our base to come out in the streets in support of the effort of defunding the police. Our power is in our people and our ability to provide a good infrastructure for our members, our volunteers, our people to actually be active in the work that is important to them, but also connected to this bigger vision of what justice looks like every day in our communities. And me personally, I'm here at the Sierra Club because I feel like we can make significant contribution to this larger movement and the larger and broader vision for climate justice. And I understand that the fight for racial justice is interconnected. It is actually part of the work to win climate justice. And the opportunity that we have here is that we are able to engage our folks either through one of our local 64 chapters nationally, or through distributed strategies and work that connects all of this work into one cohesive strategy. Our members, our volunteers, our supporters have an opportunity to to participate in the way that makes sense for them, regardless of where they're at regardless of where they're at in the country. And so, we have almost 4 million volunteers in the Sierra Club. And so if we can galvanize those folks under an umbrella that is clear, that our vision is about climate justice, and within that there is a vision about racial justice, I think that we can make a significant contribution to the larger effort for racial and climate justice in this country.
Love that, Byron. Thank you. So very fitting. Our last question here for all of us is, and the question we're going to have for you all too, is what does creating a more livable planet where everyone can thrive look like in your community, in your organization, on your team? And what are you going to do to turn that vision into a reality? So for me, that looks like a vision of public safety where Black and Brown people can walk, drive, live, and breathe in peace, because there is no justice without peace. And so for me, I'm committed to doing my part to organize and mobilize the intersections of public safety and climate justice. So I'll give you all a second to think about that. Whoever wants to go first can.
I'll go. Well, for me, it's equal access to nature. Clean air, clean water, clean energy. Access to nature for everybody is vital to everybody. Where you live, color of your skin, who you worship, your sexual orientation, gender identity, how much money you have. None of that should determine whether or not you have access to an environment and the things that we all need to survive. And I'm committed to working, doing everything that I can to support and empower and amplify the work of Sierra Club members to make that vision a reality.
Thank you. You ready, Ramon? Ramon, I think you're on mute.
I would have thought that, at this point, after over a year of Zoom calls, I would know how to mute and unmute, but my apologies for that. But as I was saying to myself, in terms of what we're doing to forward that vision, it's working every day to build a more equitable and just society where everyone has the opportunity and an equal shot to maximize its capacity. It's building a movement that it's inclusive, that respects people and culture, and a movement that welcomes, everyone, and people like me with, maybe different backgrounds from somebody else in other parts of the country. And knowing, for that, even though we all have different starting points in life, we should all feel that this is a movement that can welcome us, and that and where people are aware of their privileges, but use those privileges to the betterment of their communities and society as a whole. There's no such thing as a self-made person. We're all here because we got a lot of support, and we're supporting each other. And so I hope that's the vision that turns into reality in this country.
I love that. Okay, Byron, you're up.
I'm up. Yeah, my vision for the community that I want to live in is a community that is clean and healthy and safe for everyone, and that the folks that live in that community are at the center of the solutions that will create that reality, and that within that community there is a permanent organizing infrastructure that allows us to continue to build off of the work that we have been doing along the way. So a community that's rooted in organizing principles, I think, will continue to grow and thrive.
I love that. Awesome. So we have the same question for you all. What does creating a more livable planet for all to thrive look like? And how are you going to turn that vision into reality? And I think we have time here for a couple questions. So I'm happy to see here. What do we got? Okay, how about this question from Brenda? And anyone can answer. I never feel like my poetry, protesting, participating, cleanup, recycling, and organizing is enough. Flint is still going on and we are suffocating in plastic. What else can we do? It's a good question, Brenda. Thank you.
I'll jump in. Thanks, Brenda, for the question. And even though you may think it's not enough, it's important that we keep doing that. However, I must say that probably in this next year, like I said before, the stars are aligned to have probably a once in a generation, once in a lifetime opportunity to make things happen. And so, right now we have an administration that have put forward a lot of funding to turn that situation in Flint, Michigan, to turn it around, and to bring and build infrastructure in the country, upgrade the infrastructure, and do it but while centering everything on equity and justice. The Justice 40 initiative, it's amazing, the 30 by 30 preservation of lands and landscapes, so there is something here politically that we might not have in a couple of years, and that we haven't had in reality before, where this is the priority. So this is the moment to not to leave this movement or sit back and relax because we have people in charge that care about this. Is the moment to go there and push for local action. That's where the implementation of all this is going to happen. And that is very important that everybody keep involved and that we're here in all the election cycles. Probably spoke too much, Mike or Byron, if you have something to add.
Well, I just wanted to add, I really appreciate the question and also your response, Ramon. Brenda, I wanted to add that it's an outrage that people in Flint are still being poisoned with lead pipes. That is unacceptable. The fact that the protesting that you mentioned, the poetry and all the participating, all the marching that we've all done, that's the reason why we're seeing such bold proposals coming from this current administration and why we're seeing people act more strongly. It's because of the work that you and tens of millions of people have done over the years. That is the reason why we're seeing what we're seeing. And I wanted to include that in the administration's proposal, the American Jobs Plan is a proposal to replace every lead pipe and every lead service line in the entire country. Every single pipe that's tainted with lead, that's poisoning the bloodstream of our families and our communities across the country would be replaced, putting people to work and making our air and water cleaner. So that is a result of the protesting that you've been doing and many others. And it's the reason why continuing to organize now is so important, because it always makes a positive, real difference in people's lives.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike and Ramon. And thank you, Brenda, for the question. We have one more here that kind of dovetails off of what you just said. Let me pull it up from Melissa. I noticed today that the House GOP members introduced an energy innovation agenda. I'm encouraged that conservatives would make climate action a priority in any way, but I'm curious to get our perspective on their suggestions and ideas. Do y'all have any plans to review the agenda and provide detailed analysis? I love this very specific question, Melissa. So anyone that wants to answer that can take it. And while you're thinking of while you're thinking of your answer, Melissa, I want to say that what's really interesting about climate is that it is a truly intersectional, multi-party agenda. So one thing I found from political work and coming here to the Sierra Club is that everyone has opinion on what's happening with our climate and our environment. So the innovation agenda is not surprising, but I'll go ahead and let Ramon say what he was going to say.
No, please. I mean, if others want to speak, it's just that I mean, I would add that yeah, I mean, we have the environment agenda, so it's not a conservative or liberal agenda. It's an environment agenda that includes everybody. What we do is non-partisan, so it's important to to involve everyone in here. Mike, Byron, you want to?
I have a thought. Byron, I'm watching your mute, so if you come off, happy to step back. Well, so first, Melissa, thanks for the question. And the shortest answer I can give is, yeah, of course, we'll review it more carefully and come up with some comments and an analysis. And I would say it is encouraging to see something coming from the Republican Party at the federal level on climate change. Obviously, innovation has been a big part of the clean energy transition that we're seeing. Lots of small businesses continuing to innovate, helping to create lots of jobs. It is also true, and has to be said, that particularly the leadership in the Republican Party has been stalling any kind of action at the federal level for several decades, and we're going to take that into account as well. So our hope is that what we are starting to see at the local level in some places across the country is genuine bipartisanship, where we're realizing that we do share common values, and we're starting to see some progress at beginning to address the economic, environmental, and racial injustice we're seeing across both parties, that we see the same problems in similar ways, even if there are different solutions. We have not seen that from the Republican Party at the national level. We hope that that will change. We will look at any genuine attempt from the Republican Party at the national level to change with open arms. And we will, in the meantime, maintain some healthy skepticism about the proposals that are coming forward. Open, but healthy skepticism as well.
Byron, did you have any last thoughts on that?
Just to say that, yeah, I think that we're in the process. So yes, to what Mike said, what Ramon said about reviewing policy, but we're also in the process of developing a federal organizing strategy that takes into account the different opportunities that we have to actually like scaffold, right, some of these wins and some of these opportunities toward a bigger vision. So, those of you that have called in because it's Earth Day, we're hoping that we're going to have different opportunities for y'all over the next few months to engage in different parts of that strategy. So it's just, I guess my message and my answer to that question is, and to the last two questions actually, to stay tuned and continue to look for opportunities to be active, whether it is with us or with other folks who share our goals and are part of our vision.
Perfect segue, Byron. So thank you so much, Melissa, for asking that question. And we hope to turn you from a skeptic into a believer. So our last two asks for you are, first, join us. We have these 10 days of action. Go to sc.org/Earth Day, and we'll put that link in the chat. And pick an event, join us, meet our volunteers, meet our staff, learn more about the work that we're doing, ask good questions. And our second ask is join us tomorrow night on Instagram Live at Sierra Club for a conversation about the intersections of environmental and racial justice with a special guest, Tony-nominated actor and singer Joshua Henry. For you Hamilton fans, he'll be joining us with one of our amazing staff members, Hop Hopkins, to talk about this very interesting intersectional subject. So join us on Instagram tomorrow night. Go to sc.org/Earth Day, and we will see you all out there. Thank you so much for joining, and we appreciate spending time with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.